Ugh. Dylan Brooks is on our team now, Brian.
Your team,
and Meyer.
not my team.
Yep. Dylan
Houston,
Brooks.
we have a problem.
Not a problem.
Man, fuck Dylan Brooks. He ain't even in the league now.
Love Dylan Brooks. Love Dylan Brooks. Love Dylan Brooks. Love Dylan Brooks.
Love Dylan Brooks.
Yeah, love Dylan Brooks, because he's not going to Shanghai like this guy who said he would in his diss track, even though it is pretty catchy and it is still pretty hilarious. Dylan Brooks is now a Rocket. All right, welcome everybody. Welcome guys to Cut the Net. Welcome guys to Cut the Net.
That's low-key a hot take, but I agree with it.
I don't care, Barbara. If he can't throw a football, get him
Barbara.
In a bad way, but they're playing like nitty gritty. Like
Brian, hit the gym more. Look at that.
This guy.
Yeah. No. I'll play Like I'm saying that Jalen Brunson will play really well in the playoffs.
Oh, then yeah, I did misunderstand you.
Yeah, you misunderstood me. In his veins. You guys haven't been relevant since Cam Newton.
We're basketball podcasters. We're not Met Gala attendees, dude.
You know what's great though? The fact that Brian is over you. He's literally over you and literally looking down on you.
Was that necessary? Really? Do you feel better
so
after having said that, Jeremy? Like, oh my God, you got embarrassed enough. Okay, I'll take the hat off. I'm sorry. My bad, guys. Here, I got a Vegas hat here. I'll put this one on. Always a great time at Cut the Nets, fellas.
This is Cut the Nets episode 30.
Steph Curry episode, baby.
30. The Steph Curry episode and Del Curry episode. It's been a ride, Brian, but we are at episode 30. We are with Meyer McCaulsky, one of our writers, making his third appearance on the podcast. Welcome, Meyer. You know what we guys are talking about? We're talking about free agency.
What are we talking about?
Free agency, dude.
A lot of this we're giving out. A lot of dinero.
Free agency, man. I gotta say, this is probably one of the most craziest free agencies I've witnessed probably since 2010 to 2016. Between those years, 2016 was crazy, but this year was. It's just because money's just given out, like pennies on the dollar. Seriously, yeah, money is given out so much to players that hardly even deserve it. Namely Dylan Brooks. But we'll get to that later. Some free agents to mention: Cam Reddish, Yuta Watanabe, Seth Curry, Taurean Prince, Reggie Jackson, Javon Carter. Very, very high quality role players who are on different teams now. Cam Reddish. Brian, you know Cam Reddish, right? He was on your team.
I do know Cam Reddish. He was on my team.
Yeah. So
a lot of guys on that list were on my team at one point.
Yeah. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on Cam Reddish's new team now?
I love the fit. Him going to the Lakers. I thought the Knicks were going to trade him to the Lakers. I think he can be a good fit there. I honestly think he can untap and unlock his potential. I think he can be a 12 to 13 point per game player there coming off the bench. I mean, this is going to be easily, hands down, the best team he's played on his career. Obviously, he's going to learn from LeBron, second greatest player of all time, take him under his wing. So Lakers have a lot of bench options too. So I don't know what his minute situation is going to look like, but when he does, he's gonna make an impact gunning for gold, for the purple and gold. So I like the fit for Reddish. I want nothing but the best for him. He didn't leave New York with bad feelings, so I cheer for him.
Yeah, I think that he's definitely adds some wing size and also some shooting, because the Lakers definitely need shooting, and that's what they were gunning for. And Cam Reddish is definitely one of those guys. Kind of left the Hawks on a sour note back then, but he got slightly better, did all right in New York, and now he's headed towards L.A. With a multi-year deal. But also, Agent Rich Paul, who's had a hell of a weekend. Rich Paul, man. One of the craziest agents I've ever seen. Honestly,
yeah, Rich Paul was the MVP of free agency. Even LeBron tweeted about it with the cash bag emoji.
Yeah. No, Rich Paul, I honestly don't know how is he able to do it.
I'm with Brian, actually. I love the move for him. And I also like the fact that he gets to be under the guidance of Phil Handy, who's developed players such as Malik Monk, Lonnie Walker, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura. So, and Cam Reddish is more talented than all those guys. So I think he's going to he's going to turn into a defensive menace and also improve his shot, his shooting consistency, rather. So I like the move for him.
Yeah, no, that's those are a nice set of players. Especially they're all doing really well on their separate teams that they've been on. Well, with respect to Austin Reeves, who re-signed with the Lakers, 4 years, $56 million. I thought he was going to get signed for a higher deal, but he chose to stay in LA for 4 years, $56 million. Definitely deserving of that contract. That's probably, aside from all the money being thrown around, the most accurate contract this whole free agency season so far for Austin Reeves compared to other players that signed for a lot bigger. Let's get to Yuta Watanabe. Under the radar signing, I'll say. He joins his former teammate, Kevin Durant, to go to the Phoenix Suns. Watanabe was on the Nets a solid three-point shooter. I would say, I think within the 40%, high 40s.
44.4 this past
44,
season.
44, yeah, solid three-point shooter. And him and Durant play really well together.
Solid.
Yeah, really good, really good. 44% is usually a field goal percentage instead of a three-point field goal percentage if it's good. Yeah, no, it's awesome. I mean, the difference between 40%, which is good, to 44% is massive, huge. So
he's
44,
also 6'8" with a 6'10" wingspan, so that man's got some size. Definitely,
And he has some athleticism to him too.
yeah, definitely a difficult way to contest his shot. So I like this. I love this deal for the Suns. Actually, I think he's a very underrated player. I think the Suns need guys with size in addition to just like actual talent off the bench. I think the Suns are legit. I think that I even love their bench. Plus the addition of Bradley Beal. This is going to be great Suns basketball.
Now I like the Eric Gordon signing too.
Eric Gordon is a great one too. I even like the Damian Lee Damian Lee signing that Zach Morgan pointed out, our producer. And then they even got Cameron Payne solely on a bench unit now, who's a good bench player but an awful starter. So I like the Suns team. I think they can contest with Denver.
I do think they could use another point guard though. That's the only weakness I see.
yeah, they're getting mostly three-point shooters, which they need, definitely. They did answer that question. They still need a point guard, though, a true point guard. I don't think Booker is a capable point guard in the long run. So that's probably going to be their next step for the Phoenix
And he's
Suns.
going to get tired throughout the game too,
Oh,
because
yeah,
all the
man.
ball handling he has to do.
Without a doubt. But yeah, Eric Gordon also signing with Phoenix. Nice little shout out there. It's good. I mean, he's a three-point shooter, of course. Always been a three-point shooter since he joined the Rockets. As far as his injury history as well. So it's I would probably say that his significance on the team is okay. He has that playoff performance, that veteran presence. Can shoot lights out from 38% clip on average, which is always well needed. I just wonder about how much he can be used and how much energy that he's going to contribute towards the Suns team. I just don't want to feel like he's just, the back end of the rotation. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of how he played with the Clippers. Like, he was good in some games, didn't really contribute in other games, had some spurts, but he wasn't really a significant factor when he played for the LA Clippers in his second stint with them after the trade deadline. So, been interesting to see how he plays with Phoenix. Another 3-point wing for Phoenix.
The funny thing about this sign is that back in 2012, this is where he really wanted to go, but the Hornets matched his offer sheet, so he ended up staying on the Hornets / Pelicans.
And that was when David Stern owned them, so he had he had all the says for that. I still think Chris Paul going to the Lakers was could have been cool. Really could have been cool.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Wish it happened like 12 plus years ago or wherever it was.
Yeah.
But who knows how he meshes with Kobe, though? And who knows how he works in the triangle offense?
Did they still use that triangle offense after Phil Jackson left?
They ran more of a Princeton offense,
Yeah.
specifically when Mike Brown was coaching them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Getting some more free agency signings. We got Seth Curry to the Mavs. His, I think, second or third stint. He's becoming Jeff Green in my book. Like he's just joining team after team after team each year. And yeah, Brian, I know you wanted Seth Curry on the Knicks. He's a great 3-point shooter. It's in the last name.
I mean, Dante gives them more.
That's 2 different Currys we got screwed out of that we were this close to. 2 different Currys.
Oh yeah, Stephen
I'm
Curry in the
done.
draft, and
They
then
took
I'm
Jordan
done.
Hill instead.
yep.
Well, Jordan Hill was the pick after.
Yep. Yeah. Seth Curry on a 2-year deal with Dallas provides more 3-point shooting. Is that what they really need, though? I mean, I would say, yeah, you can't go wrong with 3-point shooting, but you need defense, especially with the Mavericks after their huge downfall in the down the stretch last season. So I mean, it's an okay signing in my book. I don't think it really does anything good for them, nor does it do anything bad for them, but I don't think it answers their ailing questions. So, anything to say, guys, with that, or hello?
No, I'm good.
Are you good? Okay, yeah, Seth Curry. Seth Curry, that's it. Taurean Prince, nice little under the radar signing by the Lakers. Previously played for Minnesota. Rejoins well, I guess I wouldn't say rejoins. Did he play with Jared Vanderbilt back before he went to the Utah
Yeah,
Jazz?
he did.
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Rejoins
Him and D'Lo.
That's right. Rejoins former Minnesota Timberwolf Jared Vanderbilt. And, of course, if you want to include D'Angelo Russell in that, because he did also re-sign with the Lakers on a 2-year deal. But Taurean Prince, forward. I like the signing. I really do. I think it provides a lot more size in the back end, on the bench. It just kind of continued the Lakers' really decent significant signings, especially in this offseason. And we'll get to more of them later. But, like, Taurean Prince, nice for the Lakers.
I like him as a two-way wing for them, along with Cam Reddish. He also gives them some veteran leadership as well.
Yeah, and I just think the Lakers, like you guys were saying, just get more size and more physicality and versatility. I mean, I love that they're getting so much depth options. And they're able to get guys way lower, too. Like Austin Reeves, I thought he was going to get a payday. I mean, he still did, but I thought he was going to get even more, like around the $80 million range.
The thing is, this is
from
good,
the Lakers
though.
or other teams?
This is good,
The
though,
Lakers.
because if Austin Reeves signs a higher contract, the Lakers may not even have the space to sign key players.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I'm even surprised at how low they got D'Angelo Russell, too.
For only $37 million.
I know, like, you can make the case that the Lakers were a top 3, top 5 team in terms of free agency with the moves they made. They got a lot better.
I mean, this
For
is
sure. Even though Tim Bontemps begs to differ.
Are they and they didn't even hit the luxury tax, right? Or did they?
I don't believe so. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, this is a steal, especially with D'Angelo Russell. I mean, it's kind of maybe his putrid playoff performance was a blessing in disguise because it gave him that sort of contract that he accepted. So, you know,
for sure.
maybe other teams weren't going to offer him more because it's D'Angelo Russell. At this stage in his career, the last time I saw him where he was like lights out great was with Brooklyn. And I love that team, by the way, with
That's
Brooklyn.
because a lot was asked of him, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lakers they didn't even hit the luxury tax yet. They got $5.2 million before they hit that.
They just need a big to complete that
That's still, I mean, they have really, really good players around LeBron James and AD. Just solid players around. I mean, this is probably even better than, on paper, even better than what LeBron had when it comes to supporting cast last year, because we all kept saying that he had probably had the best supporting cast he's ever had in his career. If he was like 28 years old and he played in the Lakers with this cast, instant championship. So, I mean, even though he's going to be age 39,
still a top 5 player.
Top 5 player actively?
I would say so.
I was like maybe top 10 now. Top 10. let's see what happens with his foot surgery, because he kind of regressed after he tore his tendon a little bit.
And I like the draft picks they made too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I like
Shafino.
Shafino,
And
yep,
Lewis.
yep. Yeah, I do like those additions too. They got a lot of size, a lot of depth, a lot of 3-point shooting wings, because it's going to turn that 27th in the league in 3-point field goal percentage to, I would say, top 10 or top 5, definitely.
And they're probably going to play fast this year.
Yep. Even with Darvin Ham. I mean, Darvin Ham's more defensive minded. So it'll be a really interesting Lakers team this coming season. Switching over to Denver Nuggets. The NBA champion, Denver Nuggets, they sign Reggie Jackson. He returns to the Nuggets for two more years, $10.25 million. I think this was more of a backup plan for the Nuggets because they lost Bruce Brown. And which I kept saying constantly, please re-sign Bruce Brown. Please, come on, find a way. But no, Bruce Brown takes a big paycheck, 2 years, $45 million to the Indiana Pacers. So, and he also gets to be a starter too. So like that's much more of a better situation for Bruce Brown and individually from an individual standpoint compared to being on Denver on the bench. But man, I see this as being a huge blow more than most, I would say. You still got your starting 5, but that bench really proved wonders in the playoffs, especially in the finals. So, what are y'all's thoughts of the loss of Bruce Brown, and are they going to give more minutes to Reggie Jackson?
Well, the first part of your answer is yes. It's a big part. Losing Bruce Brown's a big part for the Nuggets, but I still think they're the team to beat as of right now. And not just the Western Conference, but also the NBA. Bruce Brown was a solid role player in terms of versatility, being able to drop some buckets in, well, more specifically, being great at defense. Now, to answer the second half of your question of will Reggie Jackson take Bruce Brown's minutes, I think yes, but not all of them. I think majority of Bruce Brown's minutes are going to go to the sophomore player, Christian Brown. Denver was really high on him when they took him. He even got good minutes out of him in the playoffs. Wasn't much of a 3-point shooter in the NBA and started off his rookie year, but then he had there was one game in the finals where he was 3 for 3 from 3, but he was mostly there for his defense. Really, part of the reason they shut down Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Caleb Martin, all those guys that went off in the playoffs and to get to the finals. So I think even though Reggie Jackson will get minutes, Christian Brown will get most of those, and I think he's going to take a step up in his game.
So yeah, I do think Bruce Brown's minutes are going to be redistributed with evenly with Christian Brown as well as Reggie Jackson. I mean, Reggie Jackson didn't play much of a role in the NBA Finals, let alone the NBA playoffs. He was pretty much a bench warmer. It's nice to get a ring and all and stuff, and be next to DeAndre Jordan, who didn't play either. But you're going to get more minutes, and Reggie Jackson still has some game left in the tank, especially when he was on the Clippers, the Pistons, and earlier in his career with the Thunder. So I think that with him and Christian Brown's sort of rise to his sophomore season, especially with the performance he had, with the short amount of minutes that he played in the NBA Finals, it definitely will cause some equal minutes distribution with that signing.
But I think they're going to give those minutes to Reggie Jackson and also Christian Brown. And they may even give their rookie Julian Strawther some of those minutes as well.
They're not going to win just one. They're going to want to win 2 or 3. I mean, that's what Coach Malone said, even though he also said that Bruce Brown's coming back and when he was dead wrong and also dead drunk. He does want another ring with Denver. I mean, this is a stacked starting lineup. It's just that their bench may need some rework in the offseason.
Meyer, I got a question for you. So you mentioned that the rookie, and obviously Denver traded for that pick. So I guess my question for you is, do you know, so are they really high on the kid that they took? Or is it because They want a rookie now because they have some contracts coming up on big guys like Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray coming up. So they wanted the rookie now, so the time frame doesn't match up. Or because you knew they were going to lose Bruce Brown. Why do you think they traded for that pick to get this kid now?
I would say losing Bruce Brown was a part of it, but also seeing the development of Christian Brown, particularly in the NBA Finals. So with Julian Schroeder, he gives the Nuggets another version of that, a mature rookie who's ready to contribute right now and was well coached in a college system under Mark Few.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's what the Nuggets have to do. They don't have a Bruce Brown. They gotta have that next man mentality. Let's get to Javon Carter signing a 3-year, $20 million contract with the Chicago Bulls. I think this is also a very good signing for Chicago, even though they're kind of in a lull right now. They're not really sure what their situation is when it comes to contention or playoffs. So, the whole Zach LaVine issue, DeMar DeRozan's getting older. Lonzo Ball's not going to be in the NBA for another season. Plus, they did the whole $10.2 million request about a disabled player for a whole year, right?
Yeah, it was 10
Lonzo.
something for Lonzo.
Yeah,
10.2 maybe? 10.2 million?
10.2 million. So they're on the pretty much treading water when it comes to trying to figure out what to do with Lonzo Ball, especially with his injury being out for the season. You got Zach LaVine being in trade rumors. Will he go to the Knicks maybe? Will he go to another team? I mean, DeMar DeRozan not necessarily being in trade rumors. He's just getting older. And his mid-range game is still great. It's just that his significance on the court is becoming more and more of a liability, especially with his defense too. He wasn't really much of a defender in the first place, but him getting older doesn't make that any better. So, but I think Javon Carter, a solid wing, especially with the Bucks on the bench, with the Chicago Bulls, is also it's nice. It's a nice signing. It's not going to do anything crazy for the Bulls. They still need to figure out the playoff question or whether they need to rebuild. But is this a trending in the right direction for the Bulls?
What is their direction?
Exactly. What's their direction? There's nothing going on with Chicago.
They're in no man's land right now.
Yeah. That Lonzo Ball injury has really taken a huge toll on them, and they're not really sure where else to go.
Yeah, for sure. Because, I mean, as far as what their direction is, I think they're still playoff hopefuls. I mean, they got the guys in DeRozan and Zach LaVine and even solid offensive player Nikola Vukovic. It just, they were dealt an insanely terrible bad hand with Lonzo Ball because when he was healthy 2 years ago, they were the first seed of the West first seed in the East. And they looked like not necessarily a championship caliber yet. I didn't think they were there yet, but they were conference final contender. Then he went down. They dropped down to somewhere in the middle of the pack in the Eastern Conference, and then they lost in 5 or got swept to the Bucks. So that was really their downfall there. And I think getting guys like Javon Carter, obviously you can't replace Lonzo because Lonzo was, first of all, pretty much a 6'6" or 6'5" guard. That also, once he changed his shot the ball very well while being the defensive captain of the team and being pretty much the only good defensive player on that roster. They've tried raising minutes to Alex Caruso. That didn't really do much for them. They tried playing the kid Kobe Whitemore, who they just re-signed, and he was able to fill Lonzo's role offensively, but defensively and playmaking wasn't really there. So now they're not trying. I don't think the Bulls can unfortunately find a way to replace Lonzo with one player. I think they're trying to do it with multiple players, and I think getting Javon Carter is trying to be that defensive guy along with Caruso because, like I said, Vucevic isn't good defensively. DeRozan getting up there in age, he's not good defensively. LaVine, who even knows if he's going to be on the team. So as far as
Vucevic signed an extension as well.
He did sign an extension, so they got talented scorers. Obviously, it's just that defense, and obviously defense is starting to matter again in basketball, especially when it gets to the playoffs. So, the Bulls, I don't know if they can go all in unless they find that Lonzo-esque point guard. I really feel bad for Lonzo. I enjoyed watching his game, and now they're saying he might never even play again. So it's really just sad for all parties around. But him, obviously, the most, and for the Chicago Bulls. But
With that being said, let's get on to another Lakers signing, Gabe Vincent. This was kind of out of nowhere. Didn't know that Vincent was going to the Lakers. The Rockets were likely competitor for that type of player, but Gabe Vincent, another solid guard, going to the Los Angeles Lakers for 3 years, $33 million. Really, I mean, easy contract for the production that he's been able to put up with Miami, especially during the playoffs. The Lakers solidify their bench yet again with Gabe Vincent. With all these signings that the Lakers have been so successful with this offseason, I mean, do you think that they're going to be a top 3 seed team or a top 4 seed? Like, what happens when LeBron or AD get injured again? I mean, do you think that these guys will be able to step up?
yeah, I mean, I trust the Lakers' depth and bench, which is something I didn't trust last year. But obviously, 1 year older for LeBron and Anthony Davis, so who knows how those injuries are going to be. I wouldn't go as far as to say top 2 or even top 3 because I think in no particular order it's the Nuggets, Suns, Warriors in my opinion. But I think the Lakers are definitely avoiding the play-in, probably top 5, top 6 seed. So they're definitely avoiding the play-in, which is an improvement from last year. But I really like the Gabe Vincent signing. That honestly is one of my favorite signings for Vincent. Or for the Lakers. I thought he was going to stay in Miami because Miami needs him and whatever, especially in the role stepping in for being the second best player in Miami behind Jimmy Butler because Tyler Hero is out. But he's 27 years old. He's from California, so maybe that had something to do with it going back home. But I really like this Lakers, him on the Lakers. He was a near 10-point or double-digit scorer with 33.4% from the field. Like we said, and all in agreement, Lakers needed shooting bad. They got that shooting and Gabe Vincent, and I know he's going to be a solid scorer. Could even be the third option behind Davis and LeBron for the Lakers.
Yeah, you kind of hit the nail in the coffin, Brian, on that assumption. I mean, the Lakers just got better again with Gabe Vincent. I think that they're definitely going to be a top 5 seed. There's going to be a lot more competition. But the top seeds 1 through 5 next year, so far in free agency, I feel like they could sort of interchange. I don't think, besides maybe the Nuggets, top seeds 2 through 5 aren't going to be better than each other consistently. There's so much competition in that threshold between seeds 2 through 5 and maybe 6. Who knows? Maybe the Kings might still be playoff contenders.
That's a good point, and it's not even like those top 5 or 6 teams like are just like playoff contenders. They're all championship caliber teams. I mean, you got the Nuggets. We've talked about them enough. We understand it. You got the Suns. They low key might have a super team with a solid bench. Kind of reminds me of that Dynasty Warriors where they just took veterans for veteran minimum exception, like Mo Spates and Andre Iguodala, players like that. Solid bench for the Suns. You got the Warriors who got Chris Paul. I think that's going to be a good fit for them, and they brought back, more importantly, they brought back Draymond Green. He got paid, so I think the dynasty could still be on, contrary to what Kendrick Perkins believes. And then you got the Grizzlies who, Josh suspended, but they got Marcus Smart and they got Derrick Rose now, and I think Derrick Rose is going to play and mentor Ja. If he can mentor Ja and keep him safe, the Grizzlies are championship caliber. I mean, they got Steven Adams also going back who wasn't healthy. Brendan Clark wasn't healthy. They got some solid bigs. You see it right there. Derrick Rose returns to Memphis. That's where he played his college days. So probably have some family and friends there at a lot of those games, so he'll be more motivated. So, and then you got the Lakers too, who solid team, pretty much starting point guard through last player off the bench. So and then you got the Kings, who were one of the surprise teams, and they're very young and look dominant. So, and they're going to be there for a while. So these 6 teams, and Sabonis got paid too, so they're locking up the core in the Kings. So these teams aren't even just here for the playoffs. They're here to win a championship and win gold. So the West is going to be very, very entertaining next year.
Yeah. Speaking of Draymond Green, he signs 4 years, $100 million, staying with the Warriors. The dynasty, is it dead? Is it still going? I think the Warriors can make another championship run and solidify this dynasty when it's all said and done.
Well, I'll answer your question for you.
Okay.
Steph Curry is still the greatest point guard in the league. I think he retires greatest point guard of all time. So he's still there. Draymond Green just got re-signed. He is next to Steph Curry. Even maybe Kevin Durant. Draymond Green was the second most important player in this Warriors dynasty. And why? Is because of the defensive abilities that he brings. The voice and leader in the locker room, holds everyone accountable. I think the Warrior, and then I just think that the Warriors dynasty is back. Klay Thompson's not going to be that bad again. I don't know what it was. Maybe still a little. Maybe something was nagging him in the playoffs. I don't even know. But he's going to be there. He's going to be hopefully back to his old self. Then you got Andrew Wiggins, who's still a solid player and helped the Warriors win a title 2 years ago, I believe. Right? 2 years. 2 years ago. Oh, last year.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. So they're still there. Kevon Looney has surprised me too. He's kind of been that big body. There was that one playoff game where he had like 20 or 22 rebounds, I don't know. He had some absurd number of rebounds. So they're still there. They improved the bench a little bit. I mean, they got Corey Joseph. That was a random signing, though, to be honest with you. But and then they got Chris Paul, who I think will stay healthy because he's going to have a significant deduction in minutes, and he can obviously run the bench unit. Probably give you 15 and 6. Could even win the 6th Man of the Year award. Be the best 6th man of all time. The only knock on Chris Paul was I saw this stat on ESPN today. Steph Curry last season was 3rd in the league in most pick and rolls used, and Chris Paul was 3rd fewest in pick and rolls used, which I didn't even know. I thought he used that a lot, but
it's because Aiden sucked.
Yeah, it's true. So
I think part of it is that Chris Paul dribbles the air out the ball a lot of possessions too.
Well, he needs the ball in his hands, so
of course.
Yeah, and I think that's why he runs the bench unit.
But sometimes he'll dribble to like the end of the clock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Also,
so now I think it's like
the bench unit is also a factor too with Chris Paul's sons. So it's also you got Kevin Durant too and Devin Booker hogging the ball. So it's kind of difficult to do pick and rolls with those players.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I still think the Warriors have. I feel a lot of people shit on the Warriors bench, but there's a lot of guys I like on that bench. They got Gary Payton II, who's a defensive anchor. I'm still high on Moses Moody. I'm not ready to give up on him yet. I think he's good. They even got the cum bucket Jonathan Kuminga, who I'm still a big fan.
I hate that nickname too, man. You always mention him, bro.
Yeah, why not, man?
Oh my god!
Embrace the cum bucket, baby, because that's what he does. He
drops
buckets.
It's making fun of him. Yeah.
No,
I agree with Meyer.
Like, come on, guys, it's from SpongeBob, man.
Yeah, but when you think of Chum Bucket, you think of just depression, like it's Plankton. He's the most saddest character in SpongeBob.
Because imagine,
but like the Warriors, though, Plankton never goes away. he still tries to get that secret formula. The Warriors are still trying to get that championship. See, that's another similarity.
I think that the Warriors have gotten the Krabby Patty formula in SpongeBob terms 4 or 5 times. I mean, I'm pretty sure they've been more than successful than Plankton.
Yeah, I can't roll with that, Nick.
All right. Well, moving on, though. I'll keep it short. It's my last point about the Warriors. I really love the kid that they drafted, Brandon Podziemski. So I like this Warriors bench. I think it gets hated on for no reason. I think the only move I don't get that the Warriors made was Corey Joseph. I really just don't get the fit there. I think if whatever money the Warriors have left, because they're $35 million over the luxury tax, so with whatever, I guess, mid-level or veteran minimum exception they can get, I would use it to get either like a microwave scorer or a backup big just for size to back up Looney. So, yeah, you even saw that those stats from Corey Joseph, averaged 7 points on 3.5 assists. So, I still like this Warriors team. I don't think they're going to go away that easy as long as Steph Curry and Draymond Green are in the blue and gold.
They could turn Jackson Davis into that backup big for them, even though he's just a rookie.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, the Warriors are good at developing players. Just look at the people they've developed.
Not in recent years, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I want to point this out. Yeah, I agree with you, Brian. The Warriors aren't really going away when it comes to making the playoffs and making it a series. The tallest players they have is 6'9". They don't have a single player taller than 6'9". And yeah, you can do small ball. The era of 3-point shooting is a thing. But now centers who are 7 feet tall, 6'10", namely Nikola Jokic, who's the best player in the NBA right now. They're shooting threes. They got more size. I mean, the Lakers nearly beat the Nuggets because of their size in each game. Even though they got swept, they were probably 3 or 4 possessions away from winning. You switch that with the Warriors, it's a cakewalk for the Nuggets because they have way more size than the Warriors. That's why the Warriors struggled against the Lakers, because the Lakers played inside out much better than the Warriors played outside in. So the Warriors really need to focus more on size, especially with their bench, because I know they're going to have Kevon Looney at the 5 when they play small ball, but they mostly do play small ball for the most part. So they need to really focus on somebody who can give them size, who can give them spacing at the same time. So that's kind of my take on the Warriors with re-signing Draymond Green, but that's why the Corey Joseph signing is just like, it's kind of beyond me. Like, why are you signing Corey Joseph? He's not going to give you much size. Maybe a wing, but at the bottom end of the rotation, I guess. I don't know. This isn't 2017 anymore.
When they were signing Nick Young and David West and all those other
Slaggy
dudes
P.
for better minimum.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the only way I could wrap around my head about it is just be one of those guys, because he's 6'3", so he could be the 2 guard, just if Klay Thompson, God forbid, gets hurt or something. Because I also didn't know that Corey Joseph, low-key, is a pretty good 3-point shooter. I mean, the last 2 years he shot 38.9% and 41.4% from 3. So you know how the Warriors are. They live by the 3 ball, die by the 3 ball. So
He's another good vet to have in your roster too.
I agree with
that's
that.
true, yeah.
All right, so we can get to more free agent signings before we head out. Kyle Kuzma. Well, not necessarily a free agent, but I guess he was. He goes back to the Wizards on a much bigger deal. Not really sure why the Wizards are re-signing for that deal. They just gave away Porzingis and Bradley Beal, rhyming accidentally. But, yeah, they have Kyle Kuzma now. I guess that's their future. The Wizards, to me, are like the Bulls. What are they doing right now? I mean, they don't... Or they're like the Blazers before they got Scoot. Like, what are they doing?
I don't think they know what they're doing. But no, I mean, Kyle Kuzma did have a career year for them. So you got to kind of show, I guess, loyalty in that aspect, especially when they trade Porzingis. I mean, Jeremy, we went over it last episode. Can you name 5 guys on the Wizards? Like they're
damn.
very poverty
Jordan
roster.
Jordan Poole now.
Yeah, Jordan Poole. I mean, Jordan Poole.
Daniel Gafford.
Yeah, we brought
Johnny
the 2K
Davis.
legend.
Nah, Monte Morris
yeah.
got traded, Zach.
He got traded.
But no, too. It was like another thing. Is like Kuzma's only 27. He's 20. He averaged 21 points per game. Just a career year for him. And honestly, it's probably going to get even better. Just because now Bradley Beal and Porzingis are both gone, so he's going to be the number one option most likely. Or actually, Jordan Poole could be the number one option.
Yeah, they're going to do a little tandem, I would say. I think Jordan Poole is going to really shine this season and really showcase what he's capable of.
He might be most improved.
Yep.
Honestly, probably. And in addition to a borderline all-star candidate.
He's always been one. It's just that he never really had that opportunity, and when he did, it was not very much because he wasn't used to it. It was always either Curry or Thompson in front of him. So
You can't forget they also took the dude from France, Victor's teammate, Bilal
Koulibaly. That's right. Victor's teammate. I think he'll do a pretty good first showing in his NBA career as well.
I think it's going to take him a while to develop.
You think he's raw?
Yeah, he's only 18.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they
do play them pretty young over in France, especially in Euro leagues.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, okay. I liked his game. I saw a couple highlights from him playing in France. I liked his game, though. But I guess
hopefully, I was going to say,
NBA.
hopefully Johnny Davis can show some development.
Okay. Yeah. That's right. He was great, like at a grade F last season, with the picks that the Wizards did over at the last year's draft. He wasn't given a great grade at all. Like he had a really terrible rookie season.
Yeah. Sure.
So, maybe hopefully he'll take that next step and actually showcase what he's capable of doing. But
hopefully he'll show something in the summer league if he decided to play in summer.
I think the Wizards are just gambling. They're just sort of just throwing shit at a dart and figuring out what works. They don't really have a planned rebuild. They're just sort of, I don't know. They're just
they've been kind of reckless with their moves.
Yeah, because like they made the playoffs with Westbrook
2 years ago.
Yeah, but that really
3
wasn't.
3 seasons ago, but 2 years.
Yeah, but that really wasn't like there wasn't going to be anything coming out of that. Like it's not really, like we have Westbrook, we make the A seed.
Yeah, they didn't have a favorable matchup.
Yeah, the Sixers pummeled us in 5 games. Like, there's really no one was gonna think, oh, the Wizards are gonna go far in the playoffs because they have Westbrook and Beal. Like, no, it's not really no. But that was the last time. You know what? I'll go as far as saying that didn't really count.
Nah, that's disrespectful to say.
I mean, I like Westbrook. He was really good with in his little short stint with Washington. It's just no one was gonna think nothing was gonna ever come out of that season. It was nothing. It was kind of a wasteful gamble taking Westbrook like that.
Looking back on it,
yeah.
They got guys like Kuzma out of it.
Who's having, in my opinion, an empty stats career year.
I mean, he got to do his job at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, he's a scorer. He's a talented scorer. It's just that he's inconsistent. Like you saw him on the Lakers. He used to shoot so freaking well one game or for a couple of minutes. He was hot, and then like all of a sudden his IQ just decides to take a dip and just never really pans out. So, but yeah, Kyle Kuzma gets a 4-year, $100+ million deal. Congrats to him. Moving forward,
he's only 27, so he still has a lot of basketball left to play in him. About to hit his prime.
Yeah, he might get better. He might regress. You never know.
True.
Chris Middleton goes back to the Bucks. I kind of saw this happening. I didn't really think Chris Middleton was leaving the Bucks, especially with his lack of consistency over the last couple of seasons, especially with his injury and his nagging injuries while he was on the court and his lack of production thereof. but he gets signed back to the Bucks for like 3 years, $102 million. Like that's, I think it's a bit of an overpay, to be honest.
It is, but because they're a small market, it's gonna be tough to underpay him.
Yeah, and like another thing too is, I forgot who said this on First Take. Maybe it was JJ Redick or Perkins or Tim Legler. I don't know. Someone said it, but basically, people are just taking advantage of wanting to keep their stars healthy, and that's why it's like the best job in the NBA honestly right now is to be the second best player on a championship caliber team, because it's like take Chris Middleton for example. They're like, oh, we want to keep Giannis healthy, we want Bucks for keep going. Yeah, Chris Middleton, we're gonna pay you to make Giannis happy. When everything was thought to be okay in Portland, and they wanted to keep Damian Lillard and finally give Damian Lillard a championship contending team. Look at the contract Jeremy Grant got. Look at the contract Desmond Bane got.
Like, I like it. It's fine. Even though it's overpay, it's fine.
I mean, listen, like Meyer said, smaller markets, you're going to have to overpay. The Knicks were the king of that. With back in those days where they had Joakim
like
Noah and that free agency.
Oh, that era.
Joakim Noah.
2016.
2016 free agency was
Courtney
hilarious.
Courtney Lee, Tim Hardaway Jr. for like the second time.
Brandon Jennings. Well, they didn't pay him that much. They gave him like a minimum.
Yeah, so it's the way the salary cap's going. It's an overpay league. I mean, listen, you know what? I got to semi-tip my hat off to them because at least they didn't overpay like the Rockets did for their roster.
I guess we can
I
transition.
feel the Rockets had to make those moves too, though.
We can transition, I
guess. Like, yes and no. Like, Fred VanVleet, like, you saw the numbers. $43 million
Yeah, they did.
a year.
He did have bad numbers.
They could have overpaid.
Yeah.
Giving him $30 million would have been an overpay. They gave him 43. The
Per
Rockets,
year or just overall?
Per year.
Okay.
That's what they were going to talk about. They were talking about signing him for 2 years, $30 million, or 2 years, $60 million.
$130 million. That's ridiculous. So the Rockets coming in had $43 million in cap space. Just that Fred VanVleet deal alone took the Rockets cap space from 43 to 25 million. And then the fact that
you mean 60 million, right?
Oh yeah, 60 million.
60 plus million in cap space.
63 million. Sorry, 63 million to 25 million. And I mean, listen, I do like the other deals the Rockets made. I think the Rockets needed a physicality-esque player in Dillon Brooks, although I think they gave him a little
Don't
too
get me
much
started.
But now we love Dillon Brooks as opposed to fuck Dillon Brooks.
We have to love Dillon Brooks since he's in Houston. So
I mean, if you're getting the Dillon Brooks from 2 years ago, then that's gonna be a good sign in the long term.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought the Rockets had a very interesting free agency, to say the least. I think, the 4-year, $80 million. There was a few episodes where he was going to be on the Shanghai Sharks. Drake thinks he's on the Guangdong Tigers, which are equivalent to the Houston Rockets.
So you could say that.
Fred VanVleet.
Yeah, he says good luck on the Guangdong Tigers, but you could say that the Houston Rockets are the Shanghai Sharks because Houston, Texas has a pretty big Chinese culture.
Yeah, that's true. And then when Yao Ming was there.
When Yao Ming was beloved, bro. Like, he has a restaurant named after him. We have 2 dim sums that are pretty much like mansion-like buildings. We have a big Chinatown here in Houston. So you could say that, but obviously we're not. We're now an NBA team. I'll say, especially with these signings, we're now an NBA team. We're not going to...
Yeah, I mean, the Rockets are going to snap their streak of not being last in the league. But I mean, there's 3 moves. Like the VanVleet, you know what? He's still a good player. So you know what? Fine. Like, he's a good player. Hopefully, he'll contribute enough where people will forget about that contract.
No,
I think
dude.
The 3.
I disagree with
possible.
that. I disagree because you look at Jalen Brunson. People said he was way overpaid, $26 million a year. but he lived up to that contract. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Him being basically a primary scorer for the Knicks and the primary facilitator and was amazing in the playoffs. Yeah, you're worthy of $26 million a year. Like that's definitely worthy there. I wouldn't say he's a franchise player. I would say he's kind of like Jamal Murray esque when it comes to production.
Somewhat.
But he's not. I would say that he's like the second best option on a championship team. He's like the second best option. You know what I mean? Like he's not.
Yeah.
He's not going to be your best option. If he is your best option, then you really got to either have a balanced supporting cast around him who play off him really well. The Knicks didn't have that because of Julius Randle and R.J. Barrett.
Barrett stepped up for them, though.
Barrett stepped up, I'll say, but it took him a while. It took him a long time. Will he step up in the next season? We'll see. But with that comparison, Fred VanVleet is nowhere near as good as Jalen Brunson.
Oh, for sure.
Nowhere near. And yet he's making $40+ million a year for two seasons. The third year, I'm glad to say they actually revealed it. It is a team option for the third year. So that has a little bit of a relief. I think
just front loaded the first 2 years.
Yeah. And I think that they did that mainly to sort of develop Amen Thompson.
Yeah, because starting him at the point guard, who knows how that would have worked.
Yeah. He's got great talent. He's still kind of raw though, but he does have potential to be a really good primary facilitator.
Yeah.
So
I think he's really more of a wing with point guard skills than an actual point guard.
Oh, that's okay. Huh? Because like they were branding Amen Thompson as like the primary facilitator. Like he's going to take over as a point guard.
He can be that, but I look at him more as a wing. Like I look at him more in the vein of Andre Iguodala or Scottie Pippen. I see him playing more that.
Okay. I see your point.
Well, then too, like back to my point though, was like
back to my point.
Well, because what I was talking about earlier.
Let's get back to the better points.
My bad.
No, I wasn't saying that. No, those were good points. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying because I didn't get to finish what I was talking about. I was saying with like, aside from overpaying for VanVleet, aside for whatever the fuck the Dylan Brooks thing was, the three Rocket moves that were very head scratching for me was, trading Ty Washington, who was a first round pick, trading KJ Martin for pretty much two bags of Lay's potato chips. That's what those trades were. And then,
also a first round pick.
Josh Christopher.
Also a first round pick.
And then that's the contract.
Another first round pick.
The contract and the signing of Jock Landale. What the fuck was that?
I actually am okay with this.
Oh yeah, but I saw your reaction on Twitter, Jim.
Until I read the contract, I thought they were going to pay him the full $32 million for 4 years. No, it's every contract is not guaranteed, or every year is not guaranteed on the contract. Yeah. He's going to get $8 million this year, and they'll decide if they'll pay him again. It's kind of like KPJ, but I feel like KPJ deserves that contract more than Landale. If I'm Raphael Stone, I'm looking at Jock Landale. You're getting the minimum, buddy. That's what you're getting.
Backup.
He's a good backup, but like he only has 2 years in his belt in the NBA. You're gonna give him $8 million a year for that for 4 years? I mean, non-guaranteed, but still, like, I don't know. It's
Jeremy, what was your tweet? If I remember correctly, I think you said Stone is stoned.
Stoned. Stone is stoned. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, it's a cheap shot. I mean, I'm pretty sure people have said that before. Time will tell, but the thing is, to bring your point of KJ Martin being traded for a bag of Doritos is sad to me because like KJ Martin had his best season in his NBA career last season. Yeah. 12.7 points, 5.5 rebounds, mid-30s% from three, athletic as fuck, can get to the rim, high-flying dunk, was in the dunk contest, played all 82 games too. Was not injured.
But you know what, though? I feel like they had to unload some of those guys because they were becoming the early 2000s Los Angeles Clippers. So you're not going to be able to pay all those guys.
But you got to have some sort of leverage with KJ Martin, though. You can't just trade him for 2 second rounders. You can't, like
he did have good numbers, though. But maybe the way the other teams gauged him, they probably didn't see that much value.
And so
don't
that
worry.
was
There's
going to be the deal the Rockets were going to take. Like, okay, yeah, even though you don't see what we see in him, we'll take your 2 second rounders.
Sometimes it's not the picks that you get; it's who you pick with those picks.
I would
Meyer
have
with the
agreed
quotes
with
here.
you. I would have agreed with you 2 years ago, but draft picks just get passed around like nothing now. I mean,
At least we didn't get like 5 second round picks
Yeah,
like we did
that
last
too, though.
season.
And
Jay Crowder was
do,
traded for like 4 second round picks or whatever.
Yeah, that was
But,
last year.
I don't know. It's draft picks get passed around, but don't worry, Jeremy. If you wanna, there's a great transition we can take of 2 second round picks traded for a bag of chips, and that's the New York Knicks with Obi fucking Toppin. Man. I knew he was gone. I knew it. And you know what?
the audio
When I saw the headline, yet that headline, Knicks finalized a trade to send Obi Toppin to the Pacers. I was like, cool, good for him. And then I see 2 future second round picks, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, I'm going off. I'm like, the Knicks don't have a backup 4. I like Toppin. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, Leon Rose finally makes a move, and it's a shit one. I'm trying to rationalize. Like, oh, maybe the optimistic Knicks fan is me is like, is it like is a trade coming? That didn't even happen. So now I'm just like, what the fuck? What's going on? Like, we don't even have a backup 4. And then we signed Dante DiVincenzo, which I'll get into next. But as far as Obi Toppin, I mean, I wish him the best. He was always a high, charismatic guy. I mean, he did get into that fight with Tom Thibodeau after Game 4, and it got leaked from that. I don't even remember if we talked about it in Cut the Nets before. But that fight, what started in Game 4 from the Heat series, Tom Thibodeau pulls out Toppin, yells at him, saying, why can't you be like Taj Gibson? Taj Gibson is the guy that's being compared to. He goes, why can't you be Taj Gibson?
Bro, what?
Obi Toppin
he doesn't
gets
even
in his
play
face.
like Taj Gibson.
Yeah, no, he doesn't.
Obi
He's athletic.
Toppin gets in Tibbs'
Taj Gibson's a slow
yells
guy.
at him,
He was
yells at him, and goes, I'll never fucking be Taj Gibson. Stop comparing me to him. Julius Randle, out of all the people in the Knicks roster, highest character issues, dirtbag sometimes, like no heart. He's the one that somehow breaks this fight. So when I saw that, it was a lock. Like, I'm not a betting man. I would have bet the house on Toppin getting traded because the way Tibbs is, he gets traded. But then I took a few deep breaths. I breathed. I thought, I was like, maybe this is they're thinking bigger picture here, because the Knicks also run a 9-man rotation. Maybe DiVincenzo's just taking his roster spot. And then I was also thinking, unfortunately, I disagree with this, but maybe do NBA teams view second-round picks more valuable than Obi Toppin? Is that why? Because Obi Toppin's a pending free agent next year, so maybe some people aren't willing to give him the bag. I don't really know. Maybe they think he's unproven, a little raw still. So that's where I am with that. But as it goes, the Knicks currently still do not have a backup 4. And Meyer, I know you're a Knick. I know you're a Knick fan. Apparently, they're saying it's going to be Josh Hart. I think it's an undersized mistake, which unfortunately the Knicks have made a lot of mistakes in my lifetime. But there's
also Meyer's lifetime too.
Yeah, and Meyer's lifetime too. There's still one free agent glaring to me that I want, and I want to know your opinion on it. Yes, Zach, I know it's kind of their thing. Okay, not everyone can be a privileged Warriors fan from New Jersey like you are. Okay. So what I want to know, Meyer, is how do you feel about Christian Wood as a Knick? I'm a big Christian Wood guy.
Honestly, he fits what they would need, and he gives them more spacing, and he gives them another rim protector. So I wouldn't hate the move.
He's a free agent.
Exactly. I would love Christian Wood. I mean, I was saying it in our basketball Slack because Rob's a Maverick guy. I was annoyed that we said this in the beginning of Cut the Nets too, one of the very few episodes where the trade deadline stuff. I was saying that they should have started him right away, and they didn't. That was a Jason Kidd thing. I think Jason Kidd failed them. I used to be a Jason Kidd guy as a coach. Like, I know his twin daughters pretty well. I thought Jason Kidd was a good coach, especially with what he was doing in Milwaukee. But
back up. You know his twin daughters?
I went to middle school with them. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. But
do you still know them?
I mean, they're neighbors with the Kardashians now in Calabasas, so not really.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, they went Hollywood.
They left New York.
Because the parents are divorced.
Oh, that's
Jason
right.
Kidd's divorced.
Jason Kidd's a wife beater. He beats his wife. That's right.
Yeah, I guess that runs in New York because Domingo Herman's good at
Is
that.
it alleged or is confirmed?
It's like alleged. There's a lot of evidence,
he was
but he's
convicted.
not. Yeah, he was convicted.
Yeah, he was. He wasn't. I don't know if he was charged, but
I think they had like a settlement.
Is that where that famous mugshot came from?
Probably.
But I guess back to the point here. So I'm glad we're in agreement about Christian Wood. Hopefully, Leon Rose.
I'm glad we're all in agreement about Jason Kidd.
That too. But so then I guess would they go 10-man rotation then, Meyer, if they sign Wood?
I don't know if Tibbs will let that rock, but we shall let that. We shall see.
Well, I think if only injuries happen, or because I know Tibbs will never be stubborn enough to go with 11-man because a 10-man is out, whatever. But I actually would like to see Deuce McBride get some more minutes. I think he can be good at developing, still continue to develop. But I guess we'll talk about they're also free agent signing Dante DiVincenzo. I actually called this. I did write an article about it. So yeah, 4 years.
2 days before he was signed.
2 days before he was signed. The New York Wildcats or the Villanova Knicks, whichever way you want to call it. Then I got Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, DiVincenzo. They all won a national championship together. DiVincenzo and Brunson won 2 national championships together. So I mean, I am in my eyes viewed it as Plan B when they couldn't get Seth Curry. I really wanted Seth Curry to be a Knick just for the shooting because I think the Knicks' biggest weaknesses are shooting and perimeter defense. And DiVincenzo, good player. He's a good shooter too. He even averaged, I believe, a steal and a half per game. So he at least gets steals. So he's a good defender, and I guess that aspect. I don't know how he is in terms of an on-ball and off-ball defender. I didn't watch the Warriors much to see that. But the only reason why I don't like it, and Meyer, you can disagree with me obviously if you want, but I think that because he's 6'4", I just don't want another small guard. I don't think the Knicks need that between having Quentin Grimes, Barrett, Deuce McBride if he plays, all these guards. I wasn't necessarily a big fan of it. And honestly, because the Knicks need to trade, the Knicks need floor spacing too. Oh yeah, and they still have, as of right now, Evan Fournier on the roster.
They still on the roster. They gave away Rose before they gave away Fournier.
Rose was a free agent. They declined his team option, but Fournier was under contract. He's still on the team. It's a bad look. Oh, I know, but
it's a really bad look.
So I mean, I like Dante DiVincenzo. I just don't think he's a good fit for the Knicks. He just reminds me of another Josh Hart, so I don't really know how that necessarily will help the Knicks in terms of floor spacing. And now with Obi Toppin gone, it's even worse, the floor spacing, and they don't have a backup 4. So now the Knicks can get even smaller by having Josh Hart, so they'll probably be even more picked on defensively. And Jericho Sims seems like the next young New York player trapped that will never get time. So, listen, there's been rumors still floating around of a Paul George trade. I don't even know at this point. It seems like the Knicks just want to run it back and then make their move in free agency next year, which I'm fine with, I guess. I need to see what they do next year, but I don't know if Dante, assuming they keep the roster now, I don't know if Dante DiVincenzo is good enough to improve from where the Knicks were last year or this past season, being in the Eastern Conference semis. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I still have the Knicks anywhere from 4 to 6 in the East next year as of right now. So it'll be interesting. I mean, listen, when the season comes and rolls around, I'll cheer for Dante. Like, I'm an optimistic fan. I'm never one to hate on someone from my team. I'll always support them, but I
I
just
sure
don't
will.
really see the fit. He just seems like another Josh Hart to me, which can cause some floor
But
spacing issues.
white.
Yeah,
Well, he Italian, technically.
Oh, it's
he
white.
is Italian.
Italian is white.
But
Come
I
on,
guess it's
y'all.
cool to see that Villanova. Although, you know what? Only positive that I want to be hopeful about is that Villanova Big Three knows how to win.
They
Uh,
do.
so hopefully they can bring that luck over in New York. I mean, I also saw that. Also, Josh Hart, when he retires, should be an agent because man, does he know how to recruit. Um, he keeps now he's hitting up Mikal Bridges and trying to create the Big Four, but the core four. But he's not a free agent until 2026. But they are Brunson, Bridges, and Hart are teammates on Team USA. I'm just worried that another tampering charge is going to hit with the Knicks because they had to forfeit a second round pick for getting Brunson because they tampered for him. So maybe especially for a second time offender, repeat offender, the tampering charge will be worse. But Josh Hart, if you seeing this and you retire whenever you do, become an agent. You got a knack for recruiting.
Or a GM.
Be the next Rich Paul.
Could be.
Jeez. Yeah.
But the floor is yours. I want to hear your opinion on
Um,
DiVincenzo. You seem a little more hopeful than I do.
So yeah, Brian, I disagree that he's a bad fit because you can never have enough 3-and-D players in the modern NBA. But I don't necessarily like the contract that they gave.
4 years, 50 million.
Yeah, especially for a player that's inconsistent on both ends of the floor, really. But overall, I like the signing though. But like you said, he is kind of like another Josh Hart. But I actually feel like he can push Josh Hart and Quentin Grimes, and I think he could give them a real battle for the starting two-guard spot.
Yeah, because Grimes, even though he had a good regular season, he kind of disappeared in the playoffs. So a lot of stubborn, impatient Knicks fans have been calling for Grimes' head, but I'm not one of those.
And his shoulder was bothering him too.
Yeah, and his shoulder was bothering him. And there was even that one play where he hurt his shoulder and still got a
Yeah.
steal and an assist in the playoffs. So
That's Houston
Grimes-
strong right there.
yeah, Grimes. I'm a big Grimes guy still, but
Houston.
I wouldn't
Houston
mind to
Cougar.
see DiVincenzo start,
Yeah.
honestly, or Hart start, honestly.
They almost have 3 Josh Harts on their team.
Pretty much, yeah. But I guess so because I want to know a little more about Dante DiVincenzo. Is he a better on-ball defender, off-ball defender? Is he even good at defense at all?
I
Besides,
think he's a good
one-and-a-half
team
steals?
defender,
Okay,
especially under the guidance of Jay. Right? I think he produces a lot of those good team defenders.
yeah. Because my thing is like right now, taking a look at our team, like we have Brunson, that's not a good defender.
He ain't
Or
small.
awful defender, honestly. Barrett, I guess, is now an awful defender, unfortunately.
He's solid. He's
So-
just that he has slow feet.
Yeah, well, because that was weird, because 2 years ago, or last season, I think it was last season, he was best in opponent three-point field goal percentage, so obviously solid perimeter defender. And then for some reason, I was saying just he wasn't a good defender in that aspect. I guess it's probably, like you said, the slow feet, but then you have Mitchell Robinson, who can get in foul trouble and bites on the fakes easily. So I just wanted to know more about DiVincenzo and his offensive abilities because obviously I know he's a good scorer.
I say he's
Okay.
more of a microwave scorer.
Microwave.
Because I saw his run in the 2018 NCAA tournament when he was coming off the bench for that Villanova team. Phil Booth was starting over him.
Yeah.
And I bet you guys may not know who that is. But
No, I know who Phil Booth is. I'm a Carolina guy, so
he broke your heart.
he did.
Well,
Well,
Chris
more
Jenkins.
Chris Jenkins. Oh, don't even. But
Guys, I know that you guys want to keep talking about Knicks, but I want to get some more free agents before we head out. Is that all right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Cool. I think I want to do a lightning round for the last free agents we address. So just say yay or nay and then why for 1 or 2 sentences. All right.
All right.
So Jeremy Grant re-signs Portland 5 years, $160 million. Yay or nay and why?
Nay, overpay.
Overpay? Even with drafting Scoot and the possibility of trading Damian Lillard?
I think just given the direction, it doesn't make sense to give him that long of a deal.
I agree. I thought it was an overpay. Dante Exum. Yay or nay, and why?
Yay.
I think it's a good bargain, actually.
I'm gonna say yay.
They got nothing to lose, right?
Yeah, yay. 2K15 legend, and the Mavericks need help, so everywhere they can.
They got nothing
And
to
I think
lose.
they had a
Yeah,
quietly solid offseason.
He gives them more size at the point guard position, another defender, another ball handler, besides Kyrie and Luka.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Dante Exum, nothing to lose, really. Minimum deal. Yeah, he hasn't been in the NBA in years. The only thing that you risk is his injuries, and therefore you can't use him if he's injured.
Yeah.
So
They could turn him into Sean Livingston.
They could, dude. That's like probably one of the greatest comebacks in NBA history, especially with Sean Livingston's situation. I've already mentioned the fact that Sean Livingston still looks like he plays in the NBA. But I digress. We got Jeff Green signing with the Rockets. I'm gonna say yay on that one. He's Uncle Jeff back from 2019, but he now has a ring. So get that under his belt. 1 year, $6 million. 36 years old. The ideal veteran that you need for the young guys in the locker room, alongside with Fred VanVleet, and if you want to say Dylan Brooks. Let's go Dylan Brooks, guys, by the way. I'm going to say nay for right now. The contract is atrocious, but the Rockets have no leverage because they lost 20 straight, or they lost 60-plus games in 3 straight seasons. So
I'm gonna say yay for the sole reason that they needed that physicality, like I said, and they had to bring talent in, which they lacked because they were the worst team in the league three years in a row. So I'm going to bring back another phrase that I say a lot. The Rockets were a Chuck E. Cheese team, and now they're no longer.
So
now they're a Dave and Buster's team.
So, Jeremy, you are asking for the Rockets as a totality or player by player?
I would say both.
So I would say yay for all of them because, for one, like Ryan mentioned, they didn't have any leverage. But two, the Rockets, they needed some adults on that roster. They looked like a bunch of children last year.
I mean, that was an exact quote from Udoka. He said he wants. I mean, I don't know how Dylan Brooks falls into this, but he said he wants mature and responsible.
Age-wise,
yeah. Age is not really a number anymore. Age actually makes a significance. All right,
and they also add championship experience to that too.
With Fred VanVleet and Jeff Green. Hell yeah! All right, Max Strus, quickly to the Cavs, sign and trade. 4 years, $64 million. Yay or nay?
I'm more meh with it.
Meh. Okay.
Yeah, I'm exactly that. Meh. Good player, bad deal.
Bad deal. Okay.
But I do like the shooting that he adds at the wing.
I do too. I think this is a yay for now. Depends on how well he produces. If he does just as good, if not better, than his Miami years,
yeah,
I'm gonna go with yay.
And the thing about him, he's a streaky shooter. He's either really hot or really cold.
He was struggling from deep. Remember that 0 for 9 game?
Yeah.
And then he went like 4 straight threes in the next game in the first quarter. Yeah, he's a streaky shooter. Westbrook. Did we mention Westbrook? Russell Westbrook?
No.
Russell Westbrook.
That's a win, right?
2 years, $8 million. Dude, coming off a $40+ million contract that he signed with the Thunder back in 2018 or 2017, or I forget, one of those years when he was on the Thunder. And to have that contract into LA and Washington, now he's out of that contract. He's still got that energy, and also those those cortisone shots are still giving him energy to bounce off the court. 2 years, $8 million is really solid for the Clippers. I think he likes the team too.
It's the biggest yay, in my opinion. It's the biggest yay in this video. I mean, he has more All-Star selections than total money from that contract.
All right. Let's go down to Cam Johnson. Yay or nay to the Nets?
That's a yay.
4 years, $1.8 million?
It's a yeah. I mean, I'm high on Cam Johnson. He's young. I think he's gonna take a huge step.
Yeah, he really proved me wrong from when he first got drafted. Because I thought when he first got drafted, it was a questionable pick. But he's made some
Okay.
strides, for sure.
All right. Lonnie Walker. Yay or nay?
I like
I like it. That's another solid defensive guard that Brooklyn needed. Even pair him with Dennis Smith Jr. I like those bench moves for the Nets.
Is Dennis Smith Jr. making another comeback? Is that like going to be a huge impact for Brooklyn?
Not huge.
Depends on what you're getting.
Yeah, I mean, apparently, from what I've heard, he got a lot better defensively when he was a defensive liability for the Knicks in Dallas early on.
Yeah.
So,
And he always had the athleticism to be a good defender. He
has that bounce, too. He has a crazy vertical.
Yeah, he just wasn't always focused on that. He was more focused on scoring.
Yeah, I think his
And
IQ and, like, the way he sees the court wasn't the best. Like, his vision.
Yeah, he has more of a two-guard mentality.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
All right. Let's get to 3 extensions, and then we'll call it a day. LaMelo Ball extension.
That's a no-brainer.
That's a no-brainer. What about his injury history? He was injured last year.
Still, he's their franchise player.
He is, and I would say he's better than Lonzo Ball. I would argue that. But I don't know. He has to prove it. He did prove it a little bit in his rookie season, but again, he had injury history.
He was an all-star.
He was, but he didn't play well the rest of the year because of injuries. So,
I mean, it's not like they were going anywhere. I'm with Meyer. It's a yay. It's a no-brainer.
It's a yay. All right. Sabonis. What about his extension?
Yeah, you got to keep him around. That's another one right there.
I think so. The Kings made the playoff. Whoever made that idea is awesome. To light that beam, it's a really nice ring to it.
Yeah, I wasn't messing with it at first, but once I saw they were for real, I was like, okay.
Yeah, I like it. And him staying on the Kings makes them contenders along with De'Aaron Fox's contract for years to come. That 1-2 punch, along with really good supporting cast. Harrison Barnes also re-signed with the Kings. I mean, I think that's still pretty good. Need the veteran presence. Didn't really do well in the playoffs though. But I'd rather have him than not have him for veteran reasons.
Yeah, I'm going to say yay just because, like Meyer with Cam Johnson, Sabonis surprised me. And not necessarily him. When I saw that trade, when he got traded for basically Tyrese Halliburton.
Tyrese Halliburton extension. I think this is a yay. I like this. I mean, I think that they'll be a really formidable team in the East. They got a lot of really good young guys. Bruce Brown was added to the team, which the Pacers, I mean, they took a really good player. Really good player. Also, he gets to start too, like his Brooklyn days, but for a team that has nothing else to lose, they're all very young. They're inexperienced, but they have a lot of good talent, and they can win some pretty good games. I mean, I think that they're gonna be better next season. Indiana Pacers.
I'm gonna say yay. Hot take. I think they'll be a play-in team next year.
8th seed. I think so.
Yeah, this is another no-brainer.
Yeah.
You got to keep your all-star.
This might be a part 1 for free agency breakdowns of the NBA because there's a lot of free agents that were signed and a lot of trade talks that were signed or that were talked about, especially with Damian Lillard. We forgot to mention that. We might make this a 2-parter and have the second part uploaded later this week along with this one, part 1. We thank you so much for watching episode 30 of Cut the Nets. Meyer, thanks for joining us as our guest. Brian, of course, my co-host. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and subscribe and turn that notification button on. It'll keep you updated for all of our podcast episodes as well as highlights from podcasts and NBA Grid Game, so you guys won't miss a beat on our newest content. But yeah, we thank you so much for watching. This is Cut the Nets signing out. See you next time.